Me 28, software engineer, living a pretty quiet life. Work from home, got a cat named Jasper. Hobbies include hiking and trying to keep my houseplants alive. Basically, I'm the average guy you'd scroll past on a dating app. Not a Chad, not an incel, just a dude. My life isn't a wild party, but it's stable. It's mine. I've had a couple of serious relationships in the past. They ended for normal reasons. Grew apart, different life goals, the usual stuff. No huge drama, no trauma, just life happening. So I'm single, occasionally lonely, but generally content. My circle of friends is small but solid. One of my best friends is Liam. We've known each other since college. He's a good guy, works as a graphic designer, and is far more outgoing than I am. It's through Liam that I meet Isabel. Liam is having a casual get-together at his apartment. Just a few friends, some craft beer, and a new board game he's excited about. I show up, say my hellos, and grab a beer. That's when I see her, Isabel. She's in the middle of a passionate, one-sided argument with another one of Liam's friends about some obscure indie film. She's animated, her hands are flying everywhere, and she has this intense look in her eyes. She's captivating. Liam introduces us. Ethan, this is Isabel. She works with my girlfriend Maya. She turns to me, the intensity from her film debate instantly softening into a warm smile. Hey, she says, nice to meet you. Don't worry, I'm not always this worked up about cinematography. I laugh. It's fine. I was enjoying the show. We talk for the rest of the night. It's easy, effortless. We talk about everything and nothing. Our jobs, our terrible first apartments, our shared love for a specific brand of spicy chips. She's smart, witty, and has a laugh that makes you want to keep making bad jokes just to hear it again. She's also a feminist, a very vocal one. It comes up naturally in conversation. We're talking about our workplaces, and she mentions the tech industry's infamous boys' club culture. I agree, it's a problem. I've seen it firsthand. She seems pleasantly surprised that I don't get defensive. It's just refreshing, she says, to talk to a guy who doesn't immediately say, not all men when you bring this stuff up. I just shrug. It's a real issue. Why would I deny it? The night ends, and as I'm leaving, she asks for my number. My brain does a little celebratory dance. Be me actually getting the girl's number for once. We start texting. Then we go on a date, coffee, simple, low pressure. The conversation flows just as easily as it did at the party. She's passionate about her work in marketing, about social justice, about her cat, a grumpy Persian named Chairman Meow. I find myself genuinely interested in her opinions, even when they're different from mine. She has this way of explaining her perspective that's firm but not preachy. One date turns into two, then three. We go hiking, visit a quirky museum, and have a disastrous but hilarious attempt at cooking a fancy dinner together. Things are going really, really well. There's a real connection there. A spark. We're a few months in, and it feels comfortable. It feels right. We have our little routines. Tuesday night is takeout and a movie night. Weekends are for adventures. We haven't defined the relationship, but we're exclusive. It's an unspoken understanding. I've met her friends. She's met mine. Everyone gets along. Liam pulls me aside one night when we're all out. You really like her, don't you? He asks, grinning. Yeah, man, I do. Good, she's great. A little intense, but great. I know what he means by intense. Isabel is a person of strong convictions. She has a very clear idea of how the world should be, and she's not afraid to voice it. Her feminism is a huge part of her identity. It's in the books she reads, the podcasts she listens to, the way she analyzes movies and TV shows. Honestly, I learn a lot from her. She points out things I'd never noticed before, subtle biases and stereotypes in the media we consume. It doesn't bother me. I respect her passion. Most of the time, our views align, or at least we can have a healthy debate. But then the topic of commitment starts to come up. Not directly at first. It's in the articles she shares on social media. Think pieces with titles like The Male Aversion to Commitment and Why Modern Men Are Afraid to Settle Down. She starts making little comments, half joking, half serious. We'll be watching a rom-com and the male lead does something flaky. Isabel will sigh and say, typical. Men are allergic to commitment. I don't say anything. I just laugh it off. But it starts happening more and more. It's becoming a recurring theme. Anytime a guy in a movie, a book, or a news story does something wrong in a relationship, it's always framed as a commitment issue. One evening, we're at dinner with Liam and Maya. Maya is telling a story about a coworker who just got ghosted after 3 months of dating. Isabel shakes her head, a look of grim satisfaction on her face. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Men just won't commit. They get what they want and then they disappear. It's a systemic problem, a product of the patriarchy. Liam and I exchange a quick, uncomfortable glance across the table. I try to offer a different perspective. Well, we don't know the whole story. Maybe the guy had his reasons. It's not always about a fear of commitment. Isabel looks at me and her expression is sharp. Oh, really? What other reason could there be for leading someone on for 3 months and then vanishing? It's classic male cowardice. They're socialized to see women as disposable. The conversation gets a little tense. Maya quickly changes the subject, but the comment sticks with me. It felt like she wasn't just talking about Maya's coworker. It felt broader, like she was talking about all men, including me. The topic finally comes to a head one rainy Saturday afternoon. We're curled up on my couch watching a documentary. My cat Jasper is asleep on my lap. Isabel has been quiet for a while, scrolling through her phone. Suddenly, she lets out an exasperated sigh. "What's up?" I ask. She turns her phone screen towards me. It's a screenshot of a Reddit thread. The title is something like, "Feminist asks, why won't men commit?" "I just don't get it," she says, her voice laced with frustration. "I see it everywhere. My friends' articles, even on here. Smart, successful, amazing women who just want a real partner, and they keep getting messed around by guys who are terrified of a label." She looks at me expectantly, as if I hold the secret answer for all of mankind. I choose my words carefully. I don't think it's that simple, Isabel. I don't think most guys are terrified of commitment, she scoffs. Then what is it? Why are so many men in their late 20s and 30s still acting like frat boys, jumping from one situationship to the next? Here we go. I take a deep breath. "Okay," I say, sitting up a bit straighter. Jasper stirs but doesn't wake up. "Can I be completely honest with you? From my perspective, please," she says, her arms crossed. "Enlighten me." The sarcasm stings a little, but I press on. I think you're asking the right question, but you're blaming the wrong thing. It's not about a fear of commitment itself. I think it's about a fear of committing to the wrong person." She looks confused. "What's the difference?" "A huge difference," I say. "Look, marriage, a long-term partnership, that's the single biggest decision a person can make. It affects everything. Your finances, where you live, your career, your future children, your happiness for the next 50 years. It's a massive, life-altering commitment." "Okay, I agree. So what's your point?" "My point is, when the stakes are that high, you have to be damn sure you're making the right choice." And for a lot of guys I know, the fear isn't about being with one person forever. The fear is getting trapped in a miserable marriage with the wrong person, and then losing everything in a divorce. I can see the disagreement flash in her eyes. "Divorce? So you're already planning the exit strategy before you even commit. That's exactly the problem." "No, that's not what I mean," I say, trying to stay calm. "It's not about planning for failure. It's about risk assessment. Men have a lot to lose. Statistically, in a divorce, the man is more likely to lose his home. a significant portion of his income, and even custody of his children. His life can be completely dismantled. That's a terrifying prospect. Isabel shakes her head dismissively. Oh, please, don't give me the men's rights activist talking points. Women suffer in divorces too. I'm not saying they don't. Of course they do. It's horrible for everyone, but the legal system is often not favorable to men in these situations. That's a fact, and guys are aware of that. We see our fathers, our uncles, our friends go through it. We see them get financially and emotionally destroyed. So yeah, that makes us cautious. Cautious or just unwilling to take a risk on a woman, she fires back. It's not about not wanting to take a risk, I explain, my own frustration starting to build. It's about wanting to make a smart, calculated risk. We want a partner, not a potential adversary in a courtroom. An adversary, that's how you see a wife, that's how it can end up. And it's not just about the legal stuff. It's about the relationship itself. A lot of guys feel like the terms of the deal are constantly changing. The deal, she says, her voice dripping with disdain. A relationship isn't a business transaction, Ethan. Isn't it, though? In a way. It's a partnership. Both people are supposed to bring value. Both people are supposed to make each other's lives better. But what a lot of guys see is that they're expected to provide, to protect, to be the stable rock, while the expectations placed on their partner are, what exactly? I'm on a roll now. All the things I've thought about but never said are just pouring out. Think about it, Isabel. From the moment we start dating, men are generally expected to pursue, to plan the dates, to pay for everything. We're expected to be confident but not arrogant, sensitive but not weak. We have to be successful in our careers, be emotionally available, be good in bed, be handy around the house, so the checklist is endless. Women have expectations put on them too, I know. But hear me out. For guys, if we fail to meet any of these expectations, we're seen as less of a man. But the reverse isn't always true. And over time, in a long-term relationship, we see a pattern. A lot of women get comfortable. They might stop putting in as much effort into their appearance, their health, the romance. The respect might start to fade. The appreciation turns into expectation. I pause, taking a breath. Jasper finally wakes up and hops off my lap, annoyed at the disturbance. And the guy is just supposed to, what? Stick around. Commit to that for the rest of his life. A life of being taken for granted, of feeling more like a roommate or a walking ATM than a loved and desired partner. A life where his own happiness and needs are secondary. I look at her. She's silent, her expression unreadable. That's the real fear, Isabel. It's not commitment. It's committing to a future where we are not valued, not respected, and not happy. It's the fear of signing up for a slow-burn misery that ends in a financially ruinous divorce where we lose everything, including our kids. I lean back on the couch, emotionally drained. The silence in the room is heavy. The only sound is the rain against the window. Isabel just sits there, looking at a spot on the wall. I start to feel a knot of dread in my stomach. Did I just blow everything up? Did I go too far? Finally, after what feels like an eternity, she speaks. Her voice is quiet, almost a whisper. I never thought about it like that. She turns to look at me, and for the first time, the ideological fire in her eyes is gone. She just looks thoughtful. All those articles, all those conversations with my friends, we always frame it as men being afraid of love or being emotionally immature, she says slowly. We make it about their failings. A character flaw, she continues, thinking out loud. But what you're describing, it's not about a flaw, it's about self-preservation. I nod. Exactly. It's not that men don't want to commit. We do. I do. I want a wife, a family, a partner to build a life with, but I want a true partner. Someone who is in it with me, 100%. Someone who respects me, desires me, and appreciates what I bring to the table, just like I would for her. Another long silence. I can see the wheels turning in her head. She's processing everything I've said, filtering it through her own worldview. So when a guy says he's not ready for a relationship, she starts. A lot of the time, what he really means is he's not ready for a relationship with that specific person, I finish. Because he sees the red flags. He sees the potential for that slow burn misery I was talking about. And instead of being honest and potentially cruel, he gives a generic, socially acceptable excuse. And we, as women, interpret that as a fear of commitment in general, she concludes. Yes, and it creates this vicious cycle. Women get frustrated and start to believe all men are commitment phobes, which can make them more demanding or insecure in the next relationship. And men get tired of being painted with that brush, so they become even more guarded and cautious. Everyone loses. Isabel runs a hand through her hair, looking overwhelmed. Wow, she says softly. We sit there for a while longer, not talking. The argument is over. There's no more tension. It feels like a dam has broken. I reach out and take her hand. She squeezes it. Thank you for being honest with me, she says, finally meeting my eyes. Really, I have a lot to think about. That conversation was a turning point for us. It wasn't an instant fix. Isabel didn't suddenly abandon all her feminist principles, but something shifted. She stopped seeing the world and our relationship through such a rigid ideological lens. She started asking more questions, listening more. She stopped seeing men's behavior as a monolithic block of patriarchal programming and started seeing individual men making individual choices based on their own experiences and fears. And I, in turn, tried to be more understanding of where she was coming from. I understood that her frustrations were born from the real-life negative experiences of her and her friends. We started talking more openly about our expectations, about what a true partnership looked like to each of us. We defined the relationship. We became a team. A few months later, we're out celebrating Liam's birthday. At one point in the night, Isabel leans over to me, a playful smile on her face. You know, she says, her voice low so only I can hear. For a guy who's so worried about the risks of commitment, you seem pretty committed. I smile back at her. That's because with you, it doesn't feel like a risk. I pull her closer and kiss her. And in that moment, I know, without a doubt, that I've made the right choice. It was never about commitment. It was always about finding the right person to commit to, and I found her. Or maybe we found each other.